Have you ever uncovered something about your family that made you wish you could unlearn it? A secret so dark, so twisted, that it changed the way you looked at your loved ones forever. Every family has skeletons in the closet, but some secrets are better left buried. I learned this the hard way when I uncovered the truth about my family, a truth that still haunts me every time I close my eyes. If you think you're ready, stay with me until the end. But I warn you, this story might make you question how well you truly know your own family. It all started with an old key. I found it in a dusty box in the attic while cleaning out my late grandmother's house. The key was small and ornate, with intricate carvings that looked hand-forged. It didn't seem to fit any of the locks in the house, so I asked my mum about it. She froze, her face draining of color. "Where did you find that?" she whispered, her voice trembling. "In the attic," I replied, confused by her reaction. "Why? What does it open?" She didn't answer, just snatched the key from my hand and shoved it into her pocket. "Some things are better left alone," she said, and walked away. That should have been the end of it, but curiosity got the better of me. A week later, I was back at the house, sorting through boxes of family heirlooms. As I explored, I found myself drawn to the basement door. It had always been locked, and no one ever talked about what was down there. My grandmother used to say it was just old junk, but something about the way she avoided the topic always felt off. I couldn't stop thinking about the key. Could it open the basement door? When my mum wasn't looking, I searched her purse and found the key tucked away. My hands trembled as I approached the door. Something about this felt wrong, but I couldn't back out now. I slid the key into the lock, and with a soft click, the door creaked open. The smell hit me first, a damp, musty odor that reeked of decay. I grabbed a flashlight and descended the creaky wooden stairs, my heart pounding with each step. The basement was cluttered with old furniture and boxes, but it was clear this wasn't just a storage space. In the center of the room was a large padlocked trunk. My flashlight beam flickered as I approached it, the air growing colder the closer I got. I knelt down and examined the lock. The ornate carvings on the key matched the markings on the trunk. I hesitated, my mind racing. What could be inside? Old family keepsakes? Hidden treasure? Or something else entirely? Against my better judgment, I unlocked the trunk and lifted the lid. Inside were dozens of old yellowed photographs. They showed my family, my mum, my grandparents, and other relatives I didn't recognize. But something was wrong. In every photo, they were standing in front of the same strange symbol, a circular pattern etched into the ground. At first I thought it was some kind of family tradition, but as I flipped through the photos, the scenes grew darker. The people in the pictures weren't just standing, they were gathered around something, or someone. The final photo made my stomach turn. It showed a young girl, bound and blindfolded, lying in the center of the symbol, surrounded by my smiling family. I stumbled back, my heart racing, and noticed a small leather-bound diary tucked inside the trunk. It was worn and fragile, the pages filled with my grandmother's handwriting. As I read, the horrifying truth unfolded. My family had been part of a secret cult for generations, one that practiced dark rituals to maintain power and prosperity. The diary described ceremonies held in the basement, where they would offer sacrifices to some ancient entity. The sacrifices were always strangers, people who wouldn't be missed. But one passage stopped me cold. The bloodline must remain pure. Should the chosen sacrifice ever fail, one of our own must take their place. I felt sick. Was this why the basement had been locked? Had these rituals really happened here? I ran upstairs, clutching the diary and the photos. My mum was sitting in the living room, sipping tea as if nothing was wrong. "What is this?" I demanded, slamming the diary onto the coffee table. Her face turned pale. "Where did you find that?" "In the basement," I said, my voice shaking. "Tell me this isn't real." She didn't answer right away. Instead, she stared at me with a mixture of fear and regret. "You weren't supposed to find out," she said finally. "So it's true?" I asked, my voice rising. "Our family killed people." "It was a long time ago," she said, tears streaming down her face. "We stopped the rituals decades ago. I made sure of it. But the curse, it doesn't go away. That's why we kept it locked up, to protect you." Her words didn't make sense. What curse? What was she talking about? Before I could press her further, the lights flickered, and the house seemed to groan as if it were alive. A chill swept through the room, and I felt a presence, something cold and malevolent. "It knows," my mum whispered, clutching my arm. "You opened the door. It's free now." The air grew heavier, and shadows began to stretch across the walls, forming shapes that shouldn't have been possible. The room filled with whispers, unintelligible but filled with malice. "We have to leave," my mum said, pulling me toward the door. We barely made it out of the house before the whispers turned into screams. As we stood in the yard, watching the house shudder and groan, my mum confessed the final, chilling truth. "The curse binds our family to the entity," she said, her voice trembling. "It grants us prosperity, but it demands blood. When I refused to continue the rituals, it turned against us. That's why your grandmother died. That's why your father disappeared." Tears streamed down her face as she grabbed my shoulders. "Now that you've opened the door, it will come for you." We never went back to the house. It was abandoned, left to rot, but I couldn't escape the feeling that something was following me. Shadows flicker in the corners of my vision, and I wake up at night to the sound of whispers. My family's dark secret may have been buried, but the curse wasn't, and now it's my burden to bear. Some secrets are meant to stay hidden. If you ever find an old key, think twice before using it. Because once you open the door, you might not be able to close it again. And sometimes, what's waiting on the other side is far worse than you can imagine.